Okay, so nice and tall. You're going to be on TV.
Why am I mostly gray on the foot?
That's right.
You stood up, or you're sitting up straight now.
Good morning and welcome to the Ukrainian Hour. I'm your host, Colette Kirapita. And with me, as usual, is Father Basil Maloney from here in Yorkton. And you brought with you a special guest.
Yes, let's say your name.
Sam.
This is my son, Sam.
Yes, we've been talking about having you on TV. We thought that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam, you finished kindergarten already, didn't you? Wow, how was kindergarten? Good. Did you have a nice teacher? Yeah. What was the best part of kindergarten? Recess. I thought you were going to say recess. What about, did you have a sandbox or anything? Or building blocks? Yeah, building blocks are pretty cool. What other things did you like in your kindergarten room? Did you have books?
The kitchen.
The kitchen.
Oh, a kitchen.
A toy kitchen.
Yeah, those are cool, aren't they?
Yeah.
With little pots and pans and fridges. Those are neat. Let's see, what else did you have in your... I haven't been in a kindergarten room for a while. Oh, did you have story time?
Yeah.
I bet the teacher read you books.
Only once a week.
Oh, once a week. Okay.
I think.
But recess is still the best. I bet you had phys ed. Did you get to
Yes.
go to the gym? I bet you liked phys ed. You liked gym
I
time?
only went to a gym
For church. Oh, yes, because you would have a service. Yeah, because you're at a Catholic school too, right? Oh, nice. And then you had summertime.
Yes.
What's better, summer or school?
Summer.
Summer. Why is summer so good? What did you do?
Because you get to do outdoor things where it's not raining or snowing.
Yeah, and it was a pretty nice summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like water squirting and
Oh,
basketball.
oh, basketball. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you do like some sports.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
You play basketball like at a park or at home?
At home mostly.
Wow.
And,
Well, that's cool.
and what have you been doing these last 2 weeks, Sam? I know, but I mean, what have you been doing now? What kind of lessons are you taking? Swimming lessons.
Hey, are you a pretty good swimmer? Can you float already? Wow.
That's good.
Yeah?
Daddy.
Oh, probably better than me too.
You don't ever go to swimming.
I know.
I know, I'm not a
Daddy
good swimmer.
sinks.
I make sure that my kids took
That's
swimming.
because you don't know how to swim. You need to go to swimming.
Sam, that's okay. Okay,
Oh.
but we're going to talk about some of the things you do with Daddy in church, and what do you do in church with Daddy? You altar serve, yeah.
I saw you in Willowbrook
Yes,
one time.
you've been altar serving for a while with Daddy, and then also when we bless graves, what do? You hold that what for me?
Cross, and
Yeah.
then I tell you which grade to
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
You hold the cross for me, and you hold the
Nice.
water sometimes, and then I bless the graves, and you tell me which graves I have to do yet.
Oh, yes.
See?
Yeah, because sometimes you get confused when you're going back and forth. So it's good if you have a helper.
So you're really good. So we have to get some altar vestments for you for some of the parishes.
That would be good, right? Yes, get it nice and tall. Make
Okay.
sure we can hear you.
Yeah,
Whoops.
stand up.
Okay. So, yeah, and you go to lots of churches. I remember one time, all in one day, you went to Yorkton and Willowbrook and then Ituna all in one day.
That was a lot.
long.
Yeah,
That's
at
a
the
very long
last service I was at.
You're probably sleeping already.
You were in the back sleeping.
I guess so.
Yeah.
That's
So
I know it's lost for your dad. I can't imagine how much it is. For
what is the most fun thing you have about church, Sam?
Hold the candle.
Hold the candles, yeah. So you know how to hold the candle, right?
But not with a real one.
No,
because it
burns.
stains.
Yeah, sometimes it melts in your hand and it burns.
Well, and I remember seeing you, well, it was over a year ago, and you were so small, you weren't an altar server, but you would come and hold the candle during the gospel.
I know.
That was very nice.
It was December 10th candle.
Yeah, but still, because, you know.
That was only in Ituna.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw you do it once here, I remember. I remember your dad had a blessing for all the teachers and students.
Yeah.
That was a whole year ago.
Yeah, I remember
You were
that.
only starting kindergarten.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he's been in school for a long time because he did preschool for a year and a half.
Oh, you did preschool.
So he's been a expert at school already.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And then I know sometimes your dad takes you around to see all your cousins and relatives.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that you enjoy that too.
Oh, you won't take me to my friends.
Well, you probably see your friends when you're at school.
Yes, you'll see your friends, Sam.
Yeah, but not at their house. It's when I'm done school.
Okay, well, Sam just stood up.
Oh, that's okay.
So, what else are you gonna do during the year, Sam? I think we're gonna put you in Ukrainian dancing. So you're gonna do some Ukrainian dancing this year. Are you excited about that? Yeah, you're gonna do some dancing.
Yeah, my boys did Ukrainian dancing in Ituna, actually.
Oh wow!
I did it in Medina.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
But now you might be doing it somewhere else.
Oh, cool.
So, Sam, you tell the audience about what is your hobby?
What's a hobby?
What do you play with all the time?
My mathematics.
Yeah.
Video games.
Yeah. But you have, how many toys do you think you have?
100 million.
You probably have like 300 little toy things. At least 300.
Yeah, wow. Because your dad said you really like superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
And I really like Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mario. So what do you like about superheroes?
About their superpowers and save the day.
That's kind of neat, right? Because they can do a good deed. They can do something really nice to help people.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And also supervillains.
And super villains.
Yeah, sometimes they're not very nice, are they?
Daddy can do a homily about that because it's like good versus evil.
That's right.
So, oh, that's okay. You're good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is nice. And who's your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Batman?
I thought it used to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Now it's Batman.
Which one is better, Batman or Spider-Man?
Batman.
Because it depends what do you need to save.
I mean, Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Oh,
too.
so you have lots of favorites now.
Oh, yeah, he has lots of favorites.
Wow.
Yeah.
Two-Face.
Two-Face.
Joker.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite? Oh, yeah. Make sure you don't. Oh, are you done?
Yeah, I guess he's done.
Okay. Oops. Just watch the cord there.
Okay, we'll
So
talk to
hang
you
on
another
to
time,
your
Sam.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming, and I hope you come on again sometime. Maybe in summertime. Whoops. You got a cord around your foot.
Okay, get it off, Sam.
Yeah. Don't have to take it off. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
See you later, Sam. Wow. So that was Sam.
There you go. He's very, very active.
Yes, he is very active.
Yes. So I have two boys, and one of them was very, very quiet, and then the second one was a lot like Sam. Couldn't sit still. Every kid is different.
Yeah.
And then I found out, I didn't know until he kind of got older that he was very, very, very smart. So I think, some of these kids that we maybe think, oh, they can't sit still, but sometimes their brain is just going so much, got so much going on.
Sam has a memory like you wouldn't believe. He remembers things from when he was like 3 years old.
Really?
He goes, oh, well, do you remember when we used to go to this place? I'm like, how do you remember that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, Sam. Are you coming back?
Oh, I think we're going to play.
Maybe this sit for a second. put your cord back on. Okay. And you sit down.
Yeah,
And
maybe sit first and I'll put it back on.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I think when you're wiggling around,
Yeah,
it's making noise on
you don't want
the.
to wiggle around.
You have to kind of sit up nice and tall
Okay.
because the cord makes noises on your shirt.
So, what do you think, Sam, about church? What do you like about church?
Altar serving.
Altar
Altar
serving.
That's pretty cool.
But do you also like all the icons that you see, all the pictures in the church, and all the things that Daddy does at the altar, and the singing? How about the singing? Do you like the singing too? Do you like when they sing?
How?
Okay. So, what is your favorite song from church? Do you have any favorite songs?
Yes.
Do you have a prayer that you like to say to Mary?
I do have a song.
Which one? No. Who? Oh, that's Easter song, yeah. Christos Voskres. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Even in Ukrainian.
Yes.
Wow.
You love singing that since you were 2 years old.
Wow.
Christos Voskres. So you have to come for Easter.
That's right.
You have to come
back
for
on
Easter.
and sing together.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, Sam. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Do you have any favorite Ukrainian foods? Do you like pierogies? That's my favorite. What about cabbage rolls?
Not so much.
Yeah, you know, I figured.
Only the inside.
I knew you were going to say that. I think most kids say that. They love pierogies and they like the inside of the cabbage rolls. What about, do you ever eat borscht?
Yes.
Yeah,
he
you like
does.
borscht?
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
What about, do you know what nachinka is?
What?
no,
Like
he
cornmeal? There's only, because only some areas of Ukraine do that. Let's see, what else is a good Ukrainian food? Actually, today for lunch we had Ukrainian food. We had sausage. I bet you like sausage.
Garlic sauce.
Garlic
Oh,
sausage.
yeah, he loves his garlic sausage.
The good stuff, right?
Yeah. And what's your favorite food that you usually order when we go out? What? Grilled what?
Chicken burger.
All chicken burger, yeah, but grilled cheese.
Oh, yeah, grilled cheese sandwiches are good,
Yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
They're so juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We're going to have to pause there because there's just too much
Oh,
noise.
okay.
Sam, on your mic.
Yeah, every time you move, it's...
You can't
Maybe
touch
let's go play
that.
with
That's
the
that's a no-go zone, is that mic. It just
I can't see my toys. I don't know where they are.
What do you mean?
Are there any other rooms
Yeah, you
still?
go in the other room. Okay. We'll be done in a few minutes. You play
Are
with
you
your
good
toys. Yeah, I think he's good.
All right, okay, you go play with your toys.
Yeah.
Just move this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, you know, you can't really hear it.
Yeah, he's wiggling around.
Oh,
So.
he's going the other way. He wants to see what you're doing.
Makes sense. Noises. Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's get him to his toys first. I don't know where he went.
He's sitting right there.
I hope it's,
Doesn't touch anything.
yeah, he loves to touch things. Oh boy, hope he doesn't go too far.
It's a small building. Okay, well, thank you for bringing Sam on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a very active little boy.
Yes, he's an active little boy.
Keeps you busy.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, you know what? And when he serves at the altar, like, he does a really good job, because that's hard. He's standing all the time,
Yeah,
you know, for over an hour.
yeah.
That's really hard for a little guy.
Oh, for sure. And not this one service, like you said. There's sometimes I've taken them to 2 or 3 services in a day, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, that's a lot for a 6-year-old.
Well,
So
that's a lot for us too.
yeah, but no, he's learning well, and he's happy to serve the best we can. And I think this is, we have to teach the children from young so that they get used to it, and they're used to doing the services with me and stuff like that. I think I said once before, I remember when I was in Ottawa, And there was this girl, maybe 7 or 8, that was singing the hours or reciting the hours before the liturgy. I'm like, well, yeah, if he could easily do that too once he learns to read. It doesn't take that long to do it. Yeah.
Well, and that's maybe a good plug-in to get the kids more involved in our church, because I did hear at Beaverdale there was a couple of people serving with you, which was nice to hear. I don't know if they're going to do that in Yorkton, but we need more people in Yorkton. We lost our graduate, and he kind of kept things together there. And
yeah, well, when Sam is around, we definitely will get him to do the altar serving with me wherever I am. But again, it would be nice to have someone a little older to kind of guide him with it. But you know, it is what it is. He'll learn as we go. And I think, you know, I don't know, like I know in the Roman Catholic tradition, they have what's called the children's liturgy, where they do they take them out and they do their own little thing there. But I think our tradition is always that they stay with inside the whole, the church for the whole time, and be part of the liturgy the whole time. And I think we were talking about that last time, about the movement, and because is actually, we were at the opening divine school liturgy today, and then the speaker was kind of talking about that. He goes, we're so focused on children behaving in these pews that we're not really concentrating on prayer. And so, with no pews in the Orthodox tradition or our Ukrainian tradition, where there was no pews, they could wander as much as they wanted. The kids, they're all in church. They can go from one side to the other, and it's all about movement. So I'm just wondering about that, their development. Ever since we've gotten pews into the churches, I don't know if that is necessarily a good thing for kids.
Well, and yes, my active little boy, who's now 25, he said it wasn't built for a kid like him.
Exactly.
It's boring.
Yeah.
But I think if he would have had that freedom of movement, because I know the bishop today talked about how we use all of our senses. Yeah. And the Eastern way is to be free to, I'm going to go light a candle now, and now I'm going to sing, and now I'm going to.
So you have different options, and then when you're just sitting in the pew, you have to be silent. It's like, I don't know if that's the best thing,
Yeah.
Especially for kids. Like even schools these days, because that was the same mentality they had in schools. Well, you had these roles, you had to sit in your desk, you couldn't move, and now there's all kinds of movement in schools. So that's
I had a teacher actually ask me today if she could use the tables that are in my classroom. I'm like, yes, they're in my way. Please take them. But so there's a different way of teaching now, kind of just understanding that psychology of kids. They're not many adults.
No, they're not.
Not
at all.
And just like adults, every kid is different.
Yeah.
And some of them, like I like how they do kindergarten, how you change activities, and it's all activity based, and this is what they're telling us how we should teach. Like I teach band, so it's all activity based, so
for sure
I'm lucky in that way, but we're trying to bring that more into math and reading too, is that
for sure
you need to do something with that knowledge, or that instead of just drilling questions back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they have to know why they're learning this, and what's the purpose of it, and what are they going to use it for. Because if this reciting facts, wow, then what's the good of that?
And that's so much the same as in our church. And I think we had some sermons about that today too. That it's got to be. Yeah. What do you do with this?
Exactly.
So what? It's a story about Jesus.
Yeah.
How does that affect me today?
Exactly.
So I think right now we have some priests and bishops who are very good at that, and bring it down to us sitting in the pew. Like, what does this mean for me? So that's really important. So.
Yeah, and for sure, like I was always taught when I had to do a homily, first of all, it shouldn't be more than 8 minutes because people's attention span, never mind 6-year-old, anyone, you go on for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you forget what he's talking about. especially if some priests repeat things, and it's okay. Like, you make it interesting. You could do some personal stories. That's fine. I've done that before. Use what is happening in the world today. That's okay. Things like that. But still, it should be. It's not like you're. The hour for the liturgy, but take that 10 minutes or whatever for the homily. That's all you need. You don't need more than that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the homily. Like, it's the Eucharist. That's the main part of the liturgy. It's the body and blood of Christ. What the priest says or the bishop says is interesting. Our speaker today at the school liturgy, but it's not just about what they say. It's about who Jesus is and what He's doing for us in our life. So.
Well, I noticed today. I mean, I've noticed this before, but in St. Mary's, we used to have clocks up on the tube. And it made me think of it today, because I know, there's people, and the priest gets up, they look at their watch, and then partway through, they look and they time it to see how long he is, which is hilarious and maybe kind of childish, actually.
Oh yeah, and don't think that the priest or whoever's doing the homily can't see what people are doing. As a teacher, I would train to keep an eye on everyone, the whole room. So I know what people are doing, or fidgeting, or the noise. It happens. I try to ignore it the best I can, but the only time I can't ignore if someone Unfortunately, as a priest over the years, I've had people fall in church or have health issues. I'm like, well, you have to stop, because you don't know what's happening, and they're giving the sacrament or whatever, and nobody's ever died in church yet so far. But it's I've had some interesting things happen for sure. Yeah.
Well, then you're saying about sermons, like a lot of times for you, you'll start with a joke or maybe end with a song. And I think people really appreciate that. It's something different.
Yeah. Absolutely, because you can't just go right into the meat of things without, you're going to lose people right away. Yeah. If I start saying, well, this happened in 1400 and whatever, I'm like, okay, well, that's nice, but what does that have to do with us, So I could start, the middle of it could be that, but you need to, one priest used to say, when I was a young priest, and he passed away unfortunately already, he goes, the thing about a homily, it has to have a good beginning, a good ending, and put them together as close as possible. Ending and beginning, so that was the thing. Yeah, so that's you learn from priests over the years. You learn from different things, and people have, at first, when I was first a priest, I'm like, well, I don't want anyone to critique me, but it happens. That's fine. I've had people say, okay, well, what you said, so that made me feel this, and I said, okay, that's good to know. That I'll take that into consideration next time we do the homily, whatever. And so you're learning as you go along, and both good and bad. What you say is not going to have the same effect on every person. They're going to take it all differently. Like if you could reach a percentage of each person, not every week, but at least during the year, they could get something out of your homilies. That would be good.
Well, and like you say, that's in our church. That's not the most important thing. It is the Eucharist.
Exactly.
And,
yeah, but like I said, I think people know by now, and I try to change it up. I can't do the same thing all the time, because people are just going to get, if it's monotonous, you can't do the same joke all the time. You can't do the same song all the time or whatever. And there's different things that I'm thinking of doing in the future for sure. So
okay, interesting. Do you save your homilies from year to year?
I do.
Oh, okay.
But I don't. I use them as a kind of a research or this reference, something to have from year to year. Okay, what did I say last year? What did I do? Oh, okay. I might reuse them once in a while. In case I'm in a hurry or something, I don't have time to make a new one. But I'll try to make new ones from time to time for sure, depending on the time I have. But again, a lot of it is based on the scripture that you're reading.
Yeah.
So there's only so much you could say about that scripture. Like you can go, like I said, use different other things. Like you don't always have to use the scripture from that Sunday. You could use, I've talked about the saint of the day, or I've talked about, the feast that's happening there. It's not always has to be about the scripture, but usually, 80% of the time that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Because that's what the Word of God is. And that's why you bring the gospel book out to the people before you say the gospel. So this is the Word of God. Yeah.
And do you write out your speeches?
Most of the time. Yeah, most of the time, because I could talk off the cuff if I have to. At funerals, I always just do it when whatever comes into my mind. But usually for Sunday homilies, it's like a presentation. So you want to make sure that everything is presented the way you want it. And there's times I've forgotten my homilies and I have to do it from the cuff. But it's fine. You just do what you can. And people sometimes appreciate that too. You just say what you're feeling and do, that's fine. But I know that growing up, you have some priests that would go on and on and on and on. I'm like, no, you could break it up into 3 weeks if you want to do that same topic 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's hard to keep people engaged that long. And these aren't even kids,
even
adults.
For sure.
Once you start getting 15, 20 minutes, unless you're going to have some kind of variety in there.
Yeah. Like, again, like, it depends on your group, for sure. And if people are used to that, like the 1 hour service, so if you have a homily that's 25 minutes, half hour, well, that's going to go over time. And then that's going to make the liturgy an hour and 20 minutes. And then, people will be, a little bit upset about that.
Well, and I guess there's a time and a place, because I'm thinking like today we had a presenter, and he certainly spoke for an hour and kept their attention. In between, he was singing songs and playing his guitar in the background and telling stories and jokes and...
Like a priest sometimes, like a missionary priest, I've done, I think, one or two kind of missions, day and night or whatever, for different parishes. And that's different, because they want to hear you speak about that particular topic, and then you have a longer kind of saying. I don't know if I've never told you this, but kind of related to this, but I remember at a Remembrance Day service years ago, and I misheard what the person said. I thought they said they wanted a 50-minute homily, but the whole service was supposed to be 50 minutes. So here I had my wife researching about all these things about the war, and I had like a 10 pages or 12 pages I'm reading here, and they're like, after about 10 minutes, they're like, oh, what are you doing? And then I finished the whole thing, and it was like 50 minutes. I'm like, oh boy, that's a long time. That's the longest I've ever spoken, I think.
So are you, I know you kind of always are thinking in the future, like, are you thinking of having any missionaries come to your parish?
Yeah, there will be some eventually, and probably I'll try to get different priests at least to do confessions before Christmas, and then someone probably for Lent, and then for our Prosdek next year for Vipust, and I'll try to get that for sure. Yeah. But I'm not sure if it's going to be the same as it was in the past. It's hard to get priests for this long now, for 3 or 4 days. You might be 1 or 2 days, and that's the most you could do it. So.
And then, with COVID, we didn't have that, so we don't even really know what's normal anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and visiting priests are always good. You even as the priest in the parish, you're learning from other priests. Like even today, the speaker at our teacher thing, you're always learning something from different people, observing what they do, how they handle the crowd, how they handle of course, he's been doing it for how many years, and he's used to it. But a priest too, after a certain amount of years, what works and doesn't work, kind of thing. So.
Well, and like you said, I think especially when you are a teacher, you can read the crowd too.
Yes.
If they're rolling their eyes or yawning, or if they're smiling and nodding.
I remember in my internship as a teacher in a high school, and I was doing this, I think it was economics course or something like that, teaching, and then I had a course, planned, that lesson planned for the day. About 20 minutes into the lesson, I'm like, I don't think the kids are getting it. So I just totally threw away the lesson and did it off the cuff. It worked so much better.
Then you really need to know your topic
exactly.
well. So sometimes, if it's a feast day or your favorite or something, it's easier to talk about.
For sure. And again, I'm not expecting that every single person is going to get something out of every minute of the homily. Even me, when I go to different services, I'm not presiding. You're tired. You're thinking about other things. You're thinking about family things. You might be thinking about whatever is going on in your life. I understand that. You're not paying total attention for every single word, but I've had homilies where I could tell that people are really attentive. There's no sound at all. Nobody's yawning. Nobody's like looking through their bulletin or doing other things that I see, and I'm like, it must be either that they're really interested or they're just I don't know what's going on. So, So
and sometimes you just in the spirit, I guess. Sometimes God is just speaking through you, and you don't even know what you said. It just happens. So.
No, I like you said, homilies are part of the service, and we're not like other Christian denominations where the homily is like half hour, 40 minutes. It's the main part of the service. That's not who we are. So if there's some priests that might want to do that, but I don't know how successful that is in the churches these days. So, and it's different than saying a homily during a liturgy versus a catechesis session. So when I have a catechesis, that's different. You can talk an hour about this particular topic and have discussions and have things like that. I do that. I'll be starting catechesis again in September, and so after my I do a confessions on Wednesday night, then I have a little prayer service, and then I'll have a short little catechesis half hour, and that's fine. So that's the place for it, where you can talk longer than 5-10 minutes because there's a topic that people are interested in. It could be church history, it could be the sacraments, it could be those things, but to try to do that during an hour service, it's really hard.
Well, I'm thinking even when you have a liturgy at school, your homily is quite different, I think, than the way that you do it in the parish. You try to speak at their level. You have to for sure. And changing the language too, so that it's something that the little ones can understand.
And again, you learn from other priests over the years. So when I was training to be a priest and saw what other priests did when they go to schools and when they go to different places, you have to change your how you speak to them, like you said, because the audience is different. So you don't speak the same way in a church as you will at the school or the hospital. When you're visiting a patient at home, you gotta have see what the situation is. If there's a family around and grieving because someone is dying, well, you're not going to, do a 20-minute homily. You're going to be there, and it's a difference, right?
Well, and even I'm thinking at school liturgies, a lot of times you'll ask the kids a question. Whereas I know if you did that in church, a lot of people would be
well, I've tried that.
Answering.
I've tried that before.
Yes, and some priests have tried that, but our generation and older are not used to that in our church.
And I remember doing. You might have remembered I said that I love writing poetry. I don't know if you ever knew that. And so
I forgot that, yeah.
And so I did one one homily where I wrote a poem and just sent the poem as my homily. It was like a 3-page poem. That was my homily.
Like a rhyming poem, or
A
just
rhyming poem.
Really?
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
I kind of did it in a way like Dr. Seuss. The
hat. Cool. That's cool.
I have to find that homily and
Yeah,
maybe do it again in church.
You should do that one again.
I'll see what the people think of it. Like, what is he doing?
I think they'd love it. That sounds neat. We keep their attention, I think. There's something about, well, as a music teacher, with rhythm and the poetry, and it kind of follows your heartbeat, and that's good.
I don't even remember what the topic was. I just decided one day I was I felt like we're doing a poem today, and maybe I'll use it as a homily. Oh, there you go.
I like that. Dr. Seuss. Excellent. Well, and even today, like our speaker kind of ended with a secular song, but he said you can think of it as pertaining to Jesus, And everybody was all into it, singing and clapping their hands.
Well, I've actually used that one in one of my homilies before lunch. The one he said.
I was thinking "Lean on Me." He did after. I can't remember what he did this morning.
Yeah, no, that's the one he did before
was
lunch.
It?
Yeah, "Lean on Me." Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that was before lunch. Oh my gosh, it's been a long day.
So I do use songs.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, I most of the time I use songs to close my homily because that's just the way I do things. And I think it applies to what I was talking about. And I've usually used, songs people know from the songbook, whether it's Easter season or Christmas season or it's regular songs to the saints and Mary. But on the occasion, I would use other songs like our speaker did today. I've used other songs that it could be, popular music songs from 50s, 60s, 70s, rock music. I've done that before. And I think the speaker is right because some of these songwriters, they could have even been Christian. We don't know that.
Yeah.
They have that Christian background when they're writing these songs, and they are, kind of saying how they feel about society, about the world. There's actually a lot of good songs that could be used in church, actually, that talk about suffering, talk about love, forgiveness, all those kind of things that we can be talking about. So I might have to think about that.
Yeah, it can be more engaging for, well, I don't know, for younger people maybe, but I don't know. I think everybody gets a kick out of it.
Although I don't know if people, I've seen some people sing the songs with me that I do at the end of liturgy.
Yeah.
They know it.
Like I think at first, because I don't know, I almost made it to Ituna this week and did not, but I used to go a little bit more to Ituna, and I think they were kind of more used to that, and they'd sing along, and I noticed here at first they weren't, but every time you do it, a few more people join in, and
especially if it's a song they know. But it's music is a part of our life, and I like music. I think a lot of people like music, and I said that could be a part of our worship. We do sing the whole liturgy, and although it's people, if you grew up in that tradition, that's one thing, and it takes some time for some people to get used to it. But I think once they get used to that singing tradition, they think it's beautiful.
Yeah, like today, we have liturgy for our whole staff, and of course most of them are not Ukrainian, and quite a few of them are not Catholic.
Right.
So I'm sure there were people there that have never been to this.
Exactly.
I mean, the people that I spoke to are people that I know, and of course they're all, that was so nice, But I think there is something really neat about our church, how it's this continuous dialogue between the priest and the people, and we sing, 99% of it, really.
Exactly.
It's neat because, as a music teacher, I know music is actually important. It's really good for your brain.
Yes.
And it does so many things that just reading it doesn't do.
Exactly.
I know.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. And there are times, of course, daily liturgy, I love to sing it, but you don't always have the people that can sing, so you have to do what you have to do. And the prayers are the prayers. They're still very powerful, those prayers to God. Mm-hmm. But it is nice when you sing it, and that I think I don't know what the word I'm using for. It makes it special. Mm-hmm. It makes it very special. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because even a non-Catholic that sings with me quite often, he said, when you go and they don't sing any of it, it doesn't feel the same. Yeah. And even like our church feels different than other churches. Mm-hmm. And I think the music is a huge, huge part of that.
Yeah, and as far as how concentrating again, I understand people. We all have things that we're going through in life, and we can't. I'm trying to concentrate on the prayers and doing the rubrics as best I can and make sure I'm doing it right, and then serving the people and bringing this offering to God, because that's really what it is, right? You're making that offering a sin offering. That's what the Jewish tradition was, when the high priest would make that offering to God for the sins of the people. So we're doing the same thing. Now it's Jesus's body and blood. Mm-hmm. But I get it, like I said, when I've been in other churches, you're not always focused on every single word the priest is saying. But as long as you're, you could be thinking of your life, you could be thinking of the things that are happening, but give it to God. There's that beautiful cherubic hymn, where it says, lay aside all cares of life. Mm-hmm. So give it to God. That's basically what it's saying, Yeah. Don't worry, for this hour at least, this focus on what God can do for you, right? And the rest of those things they'll still be there when you go home. Don't worry about it.
And I think it really helps if we're participating.
Yes.
And even if you can't sing, sing along anyway.
Exactly.
Somebody said God is tone deaf.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, when you just stand there, it is boring.
Yeah.
And it's
like,
how are you, I don't know, unless you're singing in your heart. Like, I guess maybe if I lost my voice, I would still sing in my heart.
That's true.
But I don't know. Maybe some people don't do that. But it helps pass the time. It's good for you physically, mentally, and spiritually, for sure.
And I could see the first few times, if you're totally new to you don't know what's happening, what you're supposed to sit or stand or what page you're on, that's fine. But once you get used to it, after a few months of coming regularly, you should be really used to it. It doesn't change. So you should know what pages to be on and where to find the other things and what parts go where. And then that's when you could kind of start to be really focused and, not just, it's kind of like the Jesus prayer. I think we talked about this once. At first you're reading the words and then it's in your heart. It's not just, it's coming from your very being. You're so focused on it, you don't even have to concentrate on the words anymore. It's just you're totally focused on God. The same thing with the liturgy. After a while, you shouldn't be focused on everything that's going around you. Although it's nice because, like the bishop said, the senses, we're using all 5 of our senses during the liturgy. But at the same time, what are we focusing towards? We're focusing towards the divine. We're focusing towards our, what we're our destiny is gonna be in after this earth. That's heaven.
Well, like today, I felt, as soon as they started singing the opening hymn, it was very strong.
Yes.
I think people in the choir today really knew how to use the microphones
yes,
that we say we need to replace.
Yeah.
And then, so then it was my turn. I, canted the liturgy, and everybody's singing "The Lord Have Mercy," and I could hear people harmonizing, and they did that for the whole liturgy. So
nice.
Like often when it's just the kids, I try to sing very simple and repetitive, something easy. But I kind of took a few risks today. It's like, let's sing this the way that we do it on Sunday, a little more festive.
For sure.
And I, was always listening to hear how much are they participating. I don't want to lose them and do something too crazy.
For sure.
But, it seemed like people were comfortable singing along and harmonizing, and it felt very joyful,
Yes.
So I think that's what people pick up on, and feed off of each other,
Right.
So.
Oh, absolutely. And again, what attracts me, if I was coming to Ukrainian Catholic Church today and I never knew anything about it, what would be the first thing that would attract me to it? And the music, for sure. The way that we sing it, the way that we sing the praises, I think that would be one of the most attractive things. Plus, of course, the iconography and all the beauty of the iconostas, if there is one, of course. That would be, that would be very attractive.
Yeah, like I think I talked about last time. We took my son's girlfriend in Prince George, and she's black. We took her to our Ukrainian church and didn't have a chance to tell her because I didn't realize she was coming. But the priest, made a point of coming to us and told her about icons. Mostly like specifically about their physical characteristics.
Right.
This is why they look like this. Oh, really? And she said, that was nothing what I expected. I think one thing, too, is because the music is very specific to Western Ukraine.
Right.
Even if you lived, a few hundred miles away, the music would be a little bit different. And in Kiev, it's a little bit different.
For
sure. So it's, most people in Canada
are
not from Western Ukraine. Like, even the way we harmonize, we sing in thirds, and you can harmonize very easily.
Yeah.
It's different than other churches and even other Eastern churches, but something really special about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And and again, the repetitiveness might seem like, well, why do we say the same things over and over? Well, because this is this is what we're praying for over and over, because this is what it is. We're praying for the world. We're praying for the Pope and all the clergy and everything. We're praying for peace. We're praying. This is what we should be praying for. Period.
And people need repetition.
Exactly.
This is how we learn. I mean, this is what we do with kids. I mean, how do you teach them something difficult with repetition?
Exactly.
You keep on adding 2 + 2 until eventually you memorize it. And same with our prayer or our. I mean, how do you get to know a person? You keep meeting with them over and over again. If you just do it once or twice, So I think, again, I'll say our church is very smart. I think they really, when the liturgy was developed over time, I think it really locks in with the psyche of the person. Like, it's very much, and even like I was thinking, with our new church here coming, it's in cycles. It's like our whole life. Every year we have winter, we have Christmas, we have summer, spring, like everything.
Exactly.
Our whole life is a yearly cycle, and our church has locked into that. And it makes sense. It's logical.
I think I mentioned that in one of our programs before. The way I think as a priest is not necessarily from the yearly, from January to December. I think of the priest of the liturgical cycle. So what feasts are coming up and stuff like that. So I know what month is which feast and stuff like that. That's how I think as a priest, and like you said, that repetition. Oh, I know that, for September there's 2 main feasts. There's the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and then there's the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. So these are the themes kind of that month that I can use to do my homilies and to do my other things, and that's, like you said, repetition. You get to know more about it all the time when it comes up again, and of course people know about Christmas and Easter and some of the other blessing of water, a thing a lot of people know about, especially now schools here. I'm really happy that I did that this past year, and I continue to do it every year, to bless the water at the schools, because that's a tradition now for the schools, right? So
Well, and I like to think that even though we're repeating, we're also kind of, it's more like a spiral. We're getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Right.
And I know we've talked before, like sometimes you read the same thing, you know, you maybe read something on internet or a homily you wrote or a book or whatever, and it strikes you again, or you kind of forget, I forgot that happened then, or this is why we do this. And
for sure.
And it's a good refresher, and
for sure.
It's just, I guess, all in our spiritual growth and our relationship with Jesus.
Absolutely.
And that it's not actually the same every year. I think of it like a birthday. Like even though you celebrate your son's birthday every year, it's different because he's 5, then he's 6, then he's going to be 7.
Exactly.
You know, so it is different. Even though you're doing the same ritual, you're bringing out a cake, you know, counting the candles, you're blowing them out. It's still, you know, our rituals are important.
Absolutely.
I know I've heard that from even secular speakers that in North America we've lost ritual.
Yeah.
You know, and we're kind of lost. We don't have so much of a Canadian culture, not like
other countries.
You know, in European countries that have been around for hundreds of years. So we kind of we need to find ritual to make things meaningful.
For sure.
You know,
I get it.
It's like part of the human psyche or something we need, I guess.
Well, I remember. I took a couple of sociological courses, whatever you call it, sociology, back in the day, and I remember, you know, thinking about, okay, you're right about ritual, but unfortunately, religious ritual is not the only thing they have these days. There's other rituals like sports. Well, that's the ritual today.
That's
true.
The
riders. So some people live their lives around when the riders play.
That's true.
So they make their whole, you know, summer about, you know, making sure that they watch the game or go to the game, whatever. That's the ritual, right? So they know that summer comes up. Or hockey is another big one. You know, some people have season tickets to whatever sports team that's their local sports team or bigger cities, professional teams. That's the ritual. And you're right, though, but we can make it the same way as in our church. This is what to expect. We have to make it exciting. Okay, well, this season's coming up. I know for kids, you know, Sammy, for Easter basket, well, okay, so you got to make a little Easter basket.
Yeah.
So
I
know
when
he was 2 or 3 years old, I remember he was so excited about that, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have this and this, and it's going to be blessed. So make it exciting for the kids. Make it these expectations that it's going to happen. Okay, this couple more days and then, you know, countdown. Christmas is another one. I know there's a lot of those Christmas calendars my wife always buys for Sam. Okay, well, you know, the counting down to Christmas. So there's a little, you know, it might be chocolate or whatever or a treat in there, but there's a message in every day that on the way to Christmas, this is the message that's happening. And then it's a nativity scene, you know, basically that's there. So you're always having that expectation.
Yeah, there's lots of things we can do. Because I know, I think this was last Easter, I saw, you know, some of these single men that would come to church and says, "Oh, you didn't bring a basket?" No.
Yeah.
What? Maybe it's different for men because maybe, you know, men aren't so much into the cooking, but especially for Easter, it's not hard to boil an egg. No. You know, boil it. No, bring one egg. Like that's what I used to do with my kids. You know, they would make a couple of Ukrainian Easter eggs. You know, even when they were just scribbling when they were 2.
Right.
And then I'd say, "Oh, do you want a piece of sausage? I'm making my basket." And I'd put one little piece. Oh, you want one egg? Okay. You know, a piece of cheese. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was cool for the kids to. Oh, I blessed my own basket. You know.
That's right. That's the expectation, like I said. They're expecting that.
And I think as adults we can do that too. You know, you're not going to buy every single food, or maybe this year you can't afford it.
Yeah.
You know, but just you probably have eggs anyway.
For sure.
You know.
For sure.
Or if you're allergic, maybe you can't have dairy, but there's you know, plant-based cheese. I've done that before too.
For sure. There's lots of things you can put in there.
Yeah. And even, you know, with Christmas too, I know we've lost a lot of our Christmas ritual, but I'm thinking, even if you just have pierogies and cabbage rolls and don't have all the other things, you know, to at least have a little part of that. And, you know, that's a history, like there's over 2,000 years of these foods. We talked. We spoke about that today. The importance. Yeah, I guess our speaker. The importance of foods. You know, getting together and sharing, and whether having coffee together or whatever. You know.
Yeah, and that can become a ritual. You know.
Yeah. So you can find that
It's
meaning.
fellowship. Yeah. And
Yeah.
well, if you think about it, the Last Supper, well, what was that? There was the Passover meal, and that was the ritual that they always did, right?
Right.
So they came together to celebrate the Exodus out of Egypt, and this is what they did every single year that day. Yeah.
Good connection.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. So it was just like their annual, like Christmas, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
The big celebration for the Jews. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you know, Jesus changed that with the bread and wine.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, and they would have had wine anyway. Like
Yes,
it was part of the ritual, but he changed that whole symbolism.
He became the lamb.
Yeah.
And again, you know, when I go to different parishes, you know, because priests move around from parish to parish, and you probably see most of Saskatchewan after by the time you retire. And it's nice, you know, because every parish you go to, although the liturgy obviously is the same, you use the same song, or even the same songbooks. A lot of them are the same, you know, the same Ukrainian songs, but there's always a little bit difference between each parish, you know, and that's nice. Because each parish has their own tradition that they do, or some might have, you know, potluck suppers certain times, or you know, for whatever they do for the Easter or Christmas, whatever. That's all different things, and that's fine. Each little parish can have their own ritual.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit last time, I think. You know, and I guess that's, we used to kind of have the little saying, they come from a different Salah, a different village in Ukraine. But that's true, like even here in Saskatchewan, you know, each parish that we go to has its own little flavor. And I suppose it's based on the people that were there, which is usually families that came from the same village from Ukraine.
Absolutely.
You know, and how they pass that on to their kids and relatives. So,
well, one thing, like I said, I like to put more of our Eastern services, you know, and I've been doing that over the year, and people are getting used to that. Vespers, and I haven't done Matins yet, except for Jerusalem Matins at Easter time. But you know, Complines I've done all those kind of things, of course, Cathist and everything else. But even the hours, it would be nice to have it instead of the rosary once in a blue moon. But again, that's going to take time.
Yeah.
To say, okay, well, you know, the rosary can, once a month we're just going to do these hours instead of the rosary. But, you know, eventually maybe that will happen.
Well, and I always think, too, because our church is very Latinized.
Yes.
You know, and our priests in the past, we didn't have a Ukrainian seminary. So they went to Roman Catholic seminaries. And no prayer is bad.
No.
You know, no prayer is good. But a lot of us, we don't know our church. We don't know our tradition. We don't know how beautiful it is, you know?
Absolutely.
So not that we want to throw out those things, but, you know, like a rosary, it's a private devotion.
Yes, it is.
From the Roman Catholic Church, which, again, that's nice, that's good. But we have actual liturgies that we could be doing.
Hours,
you know, and the hours, they're short.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know, 15 minutes?
Not even.
Yeah, probably not even, because it's just a few psalms, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, slowly. Maybe you and I will be here for the next 30 years now, slowly.
Oh, I know. I remember doing it before. I don't know I think it was a Sunday, or maybe it was, I don't remember what day it was in Ituna. And nobody, maybe it wasn't a Sunday, it was some kind of feast day. And instead of doing the rosary, I just, okay, nobody's here, and I'm just going to start the hour. People started coming in, and then they say, okay, this is what we're doing, so maybe that's what I have to do. If nobody's there for a while, okay, I'll just start the hours. Start the hours.
We might need some books to join in, but
Mm-hmm.
well, that's all good, but we are pretty much out of time here. So this has been another good hour, and again, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge, and and sharing your son with us. We talk
Thank
about
you.
it, but it's nice to have had Sam here at the beginning of the hour.
For sure.
That was a nice treat. So,
Sure.
so again, you've been watching the Ukrainian Hour. I'm your host, Colette Karapita, and with me is our regular co-host, Father Basil Maloney, as well as today we had his son, Sam. So take care, and we'll see you again next time.
See you.